Welcome back. Andrew Moore-Crispin, Director of Content for Ting Mobile, has joined me to give us a look into cell phone usage during this crazy time. So, Andrew, we all seem to be using our cell phones more than ever. So how have cell phone behaviors changed during the pandemic?
Yeah, we've seen a really marked change in the way people are using their phones during this pandemic. We've seen the first thing we've seen is a really sharp decrease in the amount of mobile data that people are using. So mobile data, of course, is any internet things that we do when we're not connected to our home Wi-Fi. So the drop in mobile data, we take that to mean people staying at home, as we're all supposed to be doing, using Wi-Fi. Home is often where the Wi-Fi is, and so I don't think we're using our phones any less, but we're using less mobile data while we use our phones. And another thing we've seen is a really sharp increase in the number of voice calls that people are making. And we take this to mean that people are keeping in touch with relatives, staying on the phone for longer, maybe keeping up with people whose primary means of communication is still the sort of good old-fashioned telephone.
What roles do these recent cell phone behaviors play in finding ways to save money on your cell phone bill?
So yeah, the way we're using our cell phones has changed, and so the way we pay for our cell phones, maybe that can change as well. It's interesting to note that there are a world of options out there for people. When we're looking at our monthly budget, monthly expenses are some of the first things we want to look at. And if you look at your cell phone bill, it's an ever-increasing part of that monthly budget. And when you look at a cell phone bill, invariably the most expensive thing on that bill is going to be mobile data. Now, often this cost is actually hidden in a big cap plan or an unlimited plan, where they're not actually showing you what you're paying for that data, but believe me, the thing you're paying for is mobile data. So while we're all home using our phones more but using mobile data less, it can be a really good opportunity to just take a really close look at that mobile phone bill, see what we're paying for, whether we're satisfied with the amount that we're paying, and whether maybe there's another option out there for us.
And Andrew, what is your opinion on signing a long-term contract, and what do you advise in terms of contracts?
Yeah, I think anytime we're looking at our mobile phone bill, we don't want to be signing a contract just as a general rule. But right now, when we don't know what's going to happen this time next week, this time next month, or even really this time next year, locking ourselves into a long-term financial commitment is probably not the best idea. And that's what a cell phone contract is. So while there is a world of choice out there, you don't need to sign a contract to avail yourself of some of that choice.
When we think of cell phone usage, we usually think of the four main carriers, AT&T, Sprint, T Mobile, Verizon. But is there another type of cellular service that can help us lower our cell phone bills?
Yeah, we do tend to think of the big providers, the big four being Verizon, T Mobile, AT&T, and Sprint. But there is a whole world of choice out there in what's called the MVNO market. So Ting Mobile is one MVNO. We're certainly not the only one. And the thing that I like most about MVNO is that it sort of has driven a lot of the competition that you see in the cell phone industry of late. So all of the downward pricing pressure, a lot of the interesting new features, a lot of the sort of differing way that cell phone companies bill, a lot of that can be traced directly to the MVNO pressure. So MVNO are mobile virtual network operators, and what that means is MVNOs don't actually own any of the network. They use the Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, or Verizon network. In Ting Mobile's case, we'll use three of those networks, everyone except AT&T. And what that allows is for the same level of service that you would get if you were with one of the big four carriers, the same coverage, the same service commitments, but a different way of billing, which more often than not translates to a much lower monthly bill. So the Ting Mobile model is that you only pay for what you use. So while we're all at home using mobile data a lot less, Ting Mobile customers are saving money on that front. But like I said, there's a whole world of MVNO choice out there, with sort of a cell phone plan and a business model to fit any of the possible use cases.
Are there any other ways a customer can lower their bill?
Yeah, so there are lots of things that you can do to lower your bill that don't actually involve switching if you have no appetite for that. I would encourage people to see what's out there, but if you're happy with your carrier, you can call them up and see if there's any relief that can be had. Even the big four carriers are trying to be a little bit more human at this time. So if you need a little bit of relief on your bill, or maybe to defer a payment, give them a call, and hopefully they'll be able to accommodate you there. You can also taking a look at your cell phone bill, this is a good time to renegotiate that bill. And that can be as simple as, again, calling up your carrier and asking what else they can do for you. One trick is to ask for to find out what they're doing for new customers as opposed to existing customers, because anyone who's navigated this before will tell you those can very often be very different things.
And Andrew, where can our viewers go for more helpful tips to save?
So yeah, I would invite anyone to come to ting.com and find out what we're all about. And on the Ting blog, you'll find a bunch of resources, including ways to keep kids entertained while we're all sheltering in place at home, and ways to take a close look at your cell phone bill and see what you could be paying.
That was a lot of great information and great tips. Thanks so much, Andrew.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks to my guests for all the great information today. Gustavo Ratia, Jeremy Pope, Latia Nelson, and Wayne Morris are behind the scenes to make all of this possible. And as always, we so appreciate your joining us. And we wish you health and wellness until we meet again for the next Bluffton News.